Welcome back to What's the 411 Sports. We're going to kick it off with some NFL news and one star that is now going quietly into the night, and that is former Dallas Cowboy Dez Bryant. Now, Bryant was minding his own business until Stephen Jones, who is the director of player personnel, among other titles he owns, for the Dallas Cowboys, went on Sirius XM on a radio show and stated, quote, how Dak Prescott would be better off without Bryant in his ear, end quote. Now, Dez Bryant isn't one to miss an opportunity to clap back, so he responded on Twitter by saying, and I'm going to clean it up as best I can, quote, here we go with that scapegoat bleep. I charged everything to the game and went the other way. Y'all know what the real problem is. Don't put it on me with that bull bleep, garbage play calling. Everybody lined up in the same spot for 17 weeks, end quote. Bryant went on to call Sean Lee, his former teammate, who sat across from his locker, a snake. Now, Mike, I ask you, why are the Cowboys even mentioning Dez Bryant? And Bryant says that he is in a good place. Do you actually believe that?
Well, for one, I have no problem with Stephen Jones and his rebuttal here to Dez Bryant, and he didn't even actually acknowledge the statements that Dez Bryant made. He basically just came out and said moving forward, how his quarterback was going to be handling the situation without this wide receiver who's not on the team any longer. And as far as Dez Bryant, he's been throwing this team under the bus for a number of months now, ever since the season finished. So this is just one of the many episodes where he's gone on social media. And quite frankly, I think the guy's made a jerk out of himself, and I think it's one of the reasons why he's not on a football team right now. I think it's things like this that have plagued his career. It's not necessarily what he does on the field. There is no question that Dez Bryant is the hardest working wide receiver in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. The guy is a machine. He gets there at 5 a.m. He leaves at 5 p.m. He is the hardest working player on the Cowboys. He was for a number of years. But the issue with him is the way that he yells at his teammates on the sidelines, and then all the extracurricular activities that the problems that he has off the field, which has died down over the course of the last several years. There's no question about that. He's not necessarily one of these guys that has been involved in trouble with the law. Now, granted, he had that issue with his family, I think, early on in his career, but he's kind of that's settled down a little bit. But it's stuff like this with him going on Twitter. This is going to be what's turning teams off from Dez Bryant. Just get over it. You're not a Cowboy anymore. Move forward, move on, find your new team. And to me, it's another example of these athletes going on social media and doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Well, on Stephen Jones's part, we only what was really publicized was only a part of the quote. The quote in full is, he's got to trust the system, at which at times, I think last year there was pressure with Dez in his ear, to some degree, Jason in his ear. Those great players want the ball. So Jason Witten was also part of the quote. But what I think is happening is that the Cowboys are trying to figure out a reason to convince us and themselves maybe that last year was just a fluke. So 2 years ago, the Cowboys are riding high. They were 13-4. Prescott won the Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. They won a playoff game. It was their first within about 5 years at that point. Ezekiel Elliott was tearing up the league. So everything was going great for the Cowboys. And then to follow that season up with a 9-7 record and missing the playoffs, they're trying to find reasons why, and they have projected Dak Prescott as the golden boy, the reason why that ship was moving the way it was. And for what would that mean for the Cowboys if their golden boy wasn't so golden, that maybe it was really Ezekiel Elliott that moved that offense? And so I think they're just trying to find reasons to elevate Prescott and then also give us the impression that this year is going to be different. As far as Dez Bryant and whether or not he's in a good place, I don't know. I don't know how exactly he can be at this point in stage with uncertainty in his career. We don't know where his next offer is going to come from, if he's going to get one by the start of the season. And I wouldn't necessarily dismiss what he said per se, because one of Dez Dez's gripes was that the play calling was not good, that it was very predictable. And that's something that I heard throughout the season last year. So then what does that mean? That also shines a light on the coaching staff. And many people think that head coach Jason Garrett should be on the hot seat, but he's not because of the relationship he has with Jerry Jones. And if the offensive coordinator is not really doing much with the offense to optimize it, then that's also under Jason Garrett's purview. So, I think the Cowboys are really just trying to figure out how to get this ship going in the right direction.
Well, in our case, hopefully it goes in a wrong direction since we're both Giant fans.
I wouldn't be sad.